king and his stupid wig and that godforsaken country. And if we lose, and if this judge says, look, despite the compelling arguments, despite what you presented in front of me today, I'm still going to rule against you, then we will go straight to President Trump's office.
Despite a protest breaking out and a huge crowd showing up in support of Andrew Tate, today's court hearing once again didn't swing in his favor, and outside the courthouse, his lawyer completely lost his composure.
Andrew and Tristan Tate are built different, and on top of that, they have the spirit of innocence inside of them. Nelson Mandela famously did 27 years of incarceration in solitary confinement, never changed his tune, and never broke his spirit, and never gave up because he was innocent the entire time. Innocent men don't give in. Innocent men don't run from the law. They run to the law. They lean into the process. The idea that Andrew and Tristan Tate are somehow dangerous is ridiculous. Every charge that has been levied against them, the acts of these charges, the facts of these charges date back to 10 years ago. The idea that there is somehow a flight risk is insane.
Right now, this hearing has nothing to do with extradition itself. That's a separate matter. What's actually on the table is whether Andrew Tate gets released on bail while the extradition process plays out. UK prosecutors are pushing back hard, arguing that both Tate brothers pose a genuine flight risk ahead of any bail decision.
They're on judicial release for several years in Romania, and no matter where they are in the world, they fly back to Romania to make their court appointments all the time. The government knows this, the United Kingdoms know this. The enemies of freedom, the enemies of justice, the enemies of free speech, the enemies of Andrew and Tristan Tate know this. So they threw the kitchen sink at them, and they drummed up every lie that they could, every lie on earth and every lie in hell, in order to make these two guys look like the Osama bin Ladens of rape, when they are nothing like it. They are innocent. They are gentlemen. They are good men. They have a world of people who depend on them for all types of things. They are fathers. They are sons. They are uncles. They are brothers. And they are best friends.
The conditions inside the jail where they're currently being held are reportedly pretty grim. So that raises the obvious question. What exactly are UK authorities basing their bail denial on? Turns out, a big part of it comes down to the brothers themselves bragging online about holding multiple passports.
If I fuck up big time and England wants me in jail, I can fly on a Nigerian passport.
The concern, as prosecutors see it, is that the brothers could slip off to a country without a solid extradition agreement in place, even just temporarily, and that alone could tie the process up for years. And that fear isn't coming out of nowhere. Some extradition cases from a decade ago are still crawling through the courts today, unresolved. That's the core of the argument being made against granting bail.
Really troubling details about potential new identities and hidden passports.
New court documents reveal prosecutors believe Andrew and Tristan Tate have multiple passports and identities to help them evade law enforcement, calling them a major flight risk. The two have been in the downtown Miami Federal Detention Center since July 19th. Several social media posts used by prosecutors point to self-proclaimed misogynist Andrew Tate boasting online in 2021 that he is untouchable, saying, quote, "I can be in another country under a different name with a penthouse and $300,000 if things go bad." And this one, posted the same year, says in part, court date, "I absolutely do not care." UK authorities are seeking their extradition for 59 charges related to rape and human trafficking. The allegations taking place between 2010 and...
Here's the unfortunate reality for the Tate brothers in 2026. Your own social media history can absolutely be turned into evidence against you. And when it comes to a digital footprint, it's hard to think of anyone bigger than Andrew Tate. This is a guy who's been chasing internet fame for something like 15, 20 years now. And over that time, he's said a lot that's now coming back to bite him. Prosecutors didn't hold back either. They went through his posts on X and other platforms, pulling direct links straight into the paperwork to build their case against him.
They are American citizens entitled to the presumption of innocence. And this may make you uncomfortable, but the presumption of innocence means that you are innocent as a newborn baby, that you are as innocent as Jesus Christ, that you are as innocent as your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, who sits home at your kitchen table and hasn't done anything. Imagine the government kicks in your door, takes out your grandma, takes out your brother, takes out your husband for a tweet. for an allegation, for some crime that some woman alleges that you did 10 years ago halfway across the world. And now you're sitting in the gulag, and now you're sitting in the cell with roaches, with rats, with drugs, with no sunlight, with guards who hate you, with the system who hates you, with the government who has betrayed you. And all you have is the people out here and your lawyers, and God is on your side. Guess what? That's all you need when you're fighting against evil. That's all you need when you're fighting against Satan. That's all you need is when you're fighting against corruption. Because if you were to put yourself in a big dark room, in a big dark stadium, and turn it pitch black, one person lights a match, another person lights a match, another person shines a light, and all of a sudden, that darkness becomes bright. And in that brightness, the enemies of truth and the enemies of light, the cockroaches begin.
Once again, Donald Trump's name has come up in connection to this case. It's not entirely clear what kind of ties, if any, the Tate brothers still have to the Trump administration. But here's the reported plan. If they ultimately lose this fight and extradition becomes unavoidable, their last-ditch move would be to appeal directly to Trump himself.
But innocence and the reasons why they should be released will be so overwhelming, will be so compelling, that if the decision goes the other way, we're all going to have to ask questions about what's going on here. And if we lose, and if this judge says, look, despite the compelling arguments, despite what you presented in front of me today, I'm still going to rule against you, then we will go straight to President Trump's office. We will go straight to Marco Rubio, because Andrew and Tristan Tate or any other American citizen cannot get extradited without the Secretary of State's signature. And we will say to him, I understand we have a long and lasting relationship with the United Kingdom, but don't forget that that relationship started when we took their tea and threw it into the damn water. Don't forget that that relationship started when...
Given how his lawyer keeps talking about the UK, and let's be honest, Andrew Tate himself hasn't exactly kept things civil either. There's a real chance he ends up buried under what could amount to well over 100 years combined by the time this is all said and done. And some of his own behavior isn't doing him any favors here. Take today, for example. While he's sitting in solitary confinement, a situation where you'd think staying on good terms with the guards would matter, he was outside mouthing off, mocking the prison staff, even calling them fat. So what does that kind of attitude actually do for his treatment going forward inside that facility? Realistically, he could be looking at a year in that Miami detention center before he's eventually sent back to the UK, where he'd then sit out on bail waiting for an actual trial, assuming he's convicted of anything. Today was supposed to be the day bail got decided one way or another, but the judge pushed the hearing back instead, leaving the question of whether the Tate brothers stay in custody completely unresolved. And we already touched on how brutal that prison environment is. You can practically feel the strain in their tweets. On top of that, there's a deadline buried in the documents. The UK has until mid-September to hand over enough evidence to the State Department to justify the extradition request, which means, realistically, the brothers could be stuck in that federal detention center in Miami for months before anything even moves forward. That's exactly why getting bail has become so urgent for them. It's spelled out directly in the defense's own motion. As for the extradition hearing itself, no date has even been set yet. They're currently being held in a separate protective unit. And here's an interesting twist. It was actually Tate's own legal team that asked for the bail hearing to be delayed because they needed more time to prepare. The government dropped a massive dossier on them, a document loaded with allegations, and from the sound of it, the defense knew they were walking into a losing battle. They needed time to build a real response before facing that bail hearing head-on, because today, they already knew they didn't have the numbers to win. Meanwhile, his lawyer continues to paint a grim picture of the conditions inside, claiming the brothers currently have no way to even speak with their family.
Oh, so wow. They're not allowed to see, they're not allowed to talk to their mother, they can't see their children, they can't see
really?
Oh, nobody. They're cut off from everybody. There's no access, there's no email, there's no phone calls.
Wait, what
it's
is
just us.
What is the legal premise to allow this to happen? That seems crazy to me.
They're using their celebrity as a justification to keep them in administrative segregation where you have no rights and no freedom and no daylight. It's the process is the punishment. They're using the process to hurt them in every conceivable way possible because that's what they do. When your enemy is the governor and the governor, has control and you have enemies in government as well, they turn the screws to you to get you to tap out. I mean, that's what this is. This is unfortunately it's not uncommon to people who are political prisoners. It's not uncommon to anybody.
By the time we actually reach the hearing where bail gets formally decided, I'd honestly be shocked if the Tate brothers walk away with it. Because bigger than this case alone, granting bail could stir up real political tension between two major countries whose relationship matters a lot more than one legal battle, especially when you consider Trump has never publicly backed Andrew Tate. Whatever connection exists there seems limited to ties with his family, not Trump himself. There's actually a recent article touching on this exact tension, questioning whether combating human trafficking still ranks as a genuine priority for the administration, especially after the White House opened a federal investigation tied to sex trafficking allegations against Tate. Add to that reports that the State Department significantly scaled back the office responsible for monitoring and combating human trafficking, and you start to see the political pressure already building inside the White House around this entire situation. And honestly, his lawyer nailed something important here. Whoever ends up stepping in to help stir things up in his favor is likely going to be someone who's helped him before, which means, in this fight, they'd essentially be going up against both Romania and the UK at once.
Yo, what's going on here? Free Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate protest. Free top G. Free top G. This is what they're scared of.
A lot of people were expecting today to bring some major headline, picturing Andrew Tate walking out a free man. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this drags on and gets pushed back a few more times before anything's settled. There's an enormous amount of paperwork still to work through, and things get complicated fast once multiple countries are involved in the process.